Jesus told the chosen to keep salt in themselves, and that's not a quaint metaphor. You feel it every time your mind won't quiet. Every time you wake at 3 a.m. with your heart racing, every time a fog of exhaustion wipes your clarity. Those are not just bad nights or weak nerves. They are symptoms of something external probing your field, and the same simple mineral sitting in your kitchen can act as a real, physical barrier against that probing. This teaching didn't come from marketing or modern mystics. It's preserved in the hidden corners of the ancient record. The Gospel of Mark's odd remark after an exorcism, the Gnostic texts like Pistis Sophia and the Gospel of Philip, the rites of Egyptian priests, and even the salt packs of the Old Testament. That knowledge was stripped down, recast as metaphor, and relegated to ritual so institutional power could keep you dependent on priests and intermediaries. That erasure matters because it cost you your right to protect your own home and your own mind. The core truth is blunt and practical. Salt isn't just seasoning, it's crystalline technology. Its geometry and electrical properties create a stable field that hostile, parasitic intelligences, the Archons described by the ancients, can't cross or even perceive. Used right, salt makes thresholds blind to their scans, traps what's feeding on your fear, and turns a vulnerable bed or a haunted corner into a sealed, neutral space. If what you've called anxiety, intrusive thoughts, or chronic drain feels hopeless, this changes everything. It reframes those experiences as an energetic problem with an available, low-tech solution. This is urgent because the people who buried that knowledge knew its power. Once individuals can shield themselves, institutional control falters. You don't have to keep handing your energy away. What follows now is not theory. It's the recovered protocol, clear, immediate, and designed to be used by you tonight. You stand at the crossroads of old instruction and present need, feeling the weight of anxiety and the search for protection. In that corner of Mark where a spirit is cast out, the call to have salt in yourselves and be at peace is not rhetorical. It is instruction for a battlefield you live inside. Archons, dark influencers that bring parasitic pressure, find openings where your vessel is porous. Understanding this gives you a new framework. Salt is not just seasoning, it is a tactical element. Archons are not mythical extras, they are functional forces that produce interference in daily life. They are the sources of intrusive doubt, sudden rage, and the slow draining of resolve. Patterns that look like trouble but carry a signature of outside occupation. When parasitic pressure settles, your frequency drops and choices narrow. Recognizing this pattern changes the response from helplessness to strategy. You stop treating symptoms and start addressing the agents, learn to identify the strain of presence and the moments when they seek entry, through hesitation or confusion. Salt functions as a frequency shield and a simple monadic anchor when used with intention. To have salt in yourself means to carry its presence inward and around your vessel so that interference cannot find easy purchase. Practically, this looks like a deliberate use of mineral salt, a mindful pinch to hold, a small wash at thresholds, keeping a sealed vial for travel. These actions tune the immediate field, not as superstition, but as a repeated, technical gesture that stabilizes your core frequency and asserts a stance of sovereignty. Be at peace operates as an instruction to establish a monadic anchor through vital breath and steady intent. Peace here is not passive calm. It is an active holding of position that denies Archons any leverage. Use your vital breath to tighten focus. Slow inhales that draw presence into the core. Measured exhales that project a clear boundary. Pair the breath with a firm inner declaration of sovereignty, brief and repeated, which functions like a tuning command and keeps the frequency shield engaged while navigating charged moments. Detection begins with paying attention to sudden shifts, intrusive narratives that loop, a sinking of resolve, a prickling sense of being watched or pulled. These are markers of parasitic pressure and active interference. When these signals arrive, respond with immediate technical steps. Bring salt close to touch, engage 3 cycles of the vital breath to recenter the monadic anchor, and state a short sovereignty command to close the opening. Retreat to a simple ritual space if needed. Small, clear gestures interrupt occupation more reliably than confusion or argument. Skepticism is natural. Salt alone is not a miracle, but a component of a disciplined approach. Think of it as a persistent technical habit that reconditions openings over time. Combine the salt gestures with daily attention to the monadic anchor, a brief breath sequence twice a day, a sealed vial kept near sleeping areas, and threshold washes before significant travel or meetings. These measures build a frequency shield that reduces parasitic pressure. The momentary ritual becomes ongoing sovereignty, and over weeks the field responds differently to interference. The teaching is urgent because the pressure is real and often subtle. Waiting for a crisis hands advantage to the Archons. Take 3 immediate practical steps. Secure a small jar of mineral salt for travel, make the vital breath a twice-daily monadic routine, and identify 1 threshold, door, bed, or workspace to perform a brief salt wash or placement. Keep language of sovereignty short and steady when occupation strikes. Through simple, repeated acts, you convert ancient instruction into living defense and reclaim the integrity of your vessel. You carry memories of nights when fear tightened your chest and your vital breath felt shallow, and you have stood seeking a way to reclaim sovereignty. There is a practical secret that begins with a simple substance: salt. In ancient Gnostic observation, Archons are non-material entities that impose parasitic pressure upon emotion and thought, lowering your frequency. They cannot enter sealed spaces of crystalline salt. Understanding that simple barrier shifts protection from ritual habit into an operable, real frequency shield you can apply. Salt is not merely seasoning. Its crystal lattice holds predictable electromagnetic qualities that interact with fields around a vessel. When salt is arranged to seal a threshold or a container, the lattice creates a boundary that reduces interference and stabilizes a monadic anchor inside. This is a physical action with metaphysical consequence. The crystals do not fight spirit by force, but alter the local frequency, so archontic influence finds no coherent pathway. Simple application: rims, lines, small piles become working constructions of sovereignty. Begin with a clear vessel and a steady vital breath to set your intention as you work. Clean physical debris. Intent gathers where form is clear. Lay a line of salt at thresholds, around personal altars, or along windowsills, ensuring the grain connects without gaps. For small items, place them within a shallow ring of salt to maintain their monadic anchor between uses. These simple forms function as active frequency shields. They do not demand belief, only precise placement and consistent upkeep to remain effective. The mechanism is straightforward. The crystalline lattice of salt organizes local electromagnetic gradients so that archontic patterns cannot synchronize with your vessel. Parasitic pressure relies on coherence, patterns that latch and amplify interference in affect and thought. When salt establishes a sealed margin, coherence breaks. Archons lose the electromagnetic foothold needed to bend your frequency. This interruption allows a return to sovereignty, a reclaiming of agency, where your vital breath and focused intent reclaim the rhythms once weakened by outside patterning. Own this. One may question whether this is superstition or practical engineering. Treat salt like a device. It requires maintenance in clear conditions to function. Replace salt if it becomes damp or scattered. Remove debris that creates unintended conductive pathways. For portable frequency shields, carry a small, sealed sachet of crystalline salt near your monadic anchor, not loose in pockets where it absorbs contaminants. Practical discipline keeps the barrier active, and that discipline is itself an exercise of sovereignty over environments that would otherwise erode your coherence. In crowded places where parasitic pressure gathers, transit hubs, offices, dense housing, simple salt boundaries restore a more stable field around your immediate space. Draw a discrete line at the foot of your door and a narrow rim on the inside sill. Place a small bowl of salt near electronics that emit constant interference. Where relationships drag coherence down, create a salt ring around your personal altar, or carry a sachet as a portable frequency shield to keep your monadic anchor intact while you move through contested spaces. Claiming this secret is not about fear, but about calibrated action for your vessel, so that parasitic patterns no longer set the pace of your days. When salt is used with intention and consistent practice, the result is palpable: clearer rhythms, reduced interference, and a strengthened monadic anchor that makes decisions from sovereignty rather than from reactive imprinting. Keep the practice simple, maintain the line, and let your vital breath confirm that the frequency shield is active. Responsibility and repetition preserve the protection you've now learned to wield. You have likely felt moments when fear spikes without reason, when a relentless loop of dark thoughts takes over and your body registers a heavy pressure that does not belong to you. Those signs often point to subtle parasitation by Archons, interfering presences that latch onto a vessel's energetic field. Recognizing this is the first practical secret. Name the intruder and record its pattern. When awareness tracks timing and sensation, action becomes possible, and sovereignty shifts from uncertain hope to deliberate work. You can distinguish internal voice from alien loops by the way they arrive. Your monadic voice lands with a calm clarity, even when it warns or insists, while parasitic thoughts are repetitive, urgent, and tonal in a way that grates against your sense of center. Test a thought by holding still and breathing into the feeling. If the thought dissolves or changes, it likely belongs to your monadic anchor. If it intensifies or layers with shame and fear, label it interference and track its cadence for later clearing. Physical markers give objective data. You may feel pressure in the skull, quick tightness around the chest, or a cold hollow at the solar region. Sensations that tighten during particular hours known for archontic activity, often between midnight and the early dawn. Wakefulness that repeats at those hours is a clear alarm. Keep a nightly log noting time, body location of pressure, and accompanying thoughts. Over weeks, a pattern will emerge and reveal when the vessel is most vulnerable, so interventions can be timed for maximum effect. When pressure or invasive thought arrives, employ the vital breath protocol. Inhale steadily into the belly and chest 3 times, each breath inviting the monadic anchor deeper into the vessel. Hold briefly on the 3rd inhale, while naming a single resolute intention, then exhale, as if pushing out a field of parasitic pressure. Repeat until the weight loosens. This physical rhythm trains the vessel to reject attachment and primes the frequency shield to take hold, converting breath into a practical instrument of clearing. Constructing a frequency shield is a technical practice, not a ritual of spectacle. Begin each day by setting a clear boundary within the vessel. Declare the intention to protect sovereignty, and hum a single steady tone for 30 seconds to align subtle layers. Anchor that tone to your monadic anchor, and imagine a multi-layered field that repels low parasitic frequencies, while allowing your vital breath to circulate. Adjust the shield by testing with the vital breath. Tighten its edge where pressure reappears and soften where your clarity remains intact. Longer-term maintenance keeps sovereignty from drifting. Schedule moments to assess the vessel. Scan from crown to root, and note any residual pull or coldness. Then apply vital breath and a light sonic sweep. A low tone moves slowly through the body to dislodge cling. Clear living spaces by opening windows and moving air to change the local frequency. The archonic tendency favors stagnant, shadowed corners. Resist reacting to invasive prompts. Every emotional surge given attention feeds parasitic pressure. Stay disciplined and the vessel will harden against return. True reclamation occurs in daily mechanics. Steady the monadic anchor with brief checks. Test each thought against felt resonance, and repair the frequency shield whenever friction appears. Trust the subtle clues. A sudden cooling, a thought that sounds alien, a night waking at archontic hours as prompts for immediate clearing. The profound secret is ordinary consistency. Small breath practices, tuned tones, simple logs, and boundary declarations cumulatively shift the vessel away from parasitic occupancy and return authority to your sovereign field. You carry daily traces of parasitic pressure, small invasions that make your vital breath feel frayed and your vessel less steady. You have sought protection and met superstition where practical methods belong. What is being offered here is an ancient operative doctrine, salt as an energetic device, not a mere cleansing talisman. When you learn to read its functions, you can apply laws that work predictably. This knowledge restores a sense of sovereignty and gives a clear, repeatable method to guard against archontic interference. Salt crystals hold a particular architecture that responds to pressure and movement with an electrical whisper called a piezoelectric charge. When the lattice flexes, tiny voltages form along predictable axes. Those voltages interact with ambient fields and alter local frequency relationships. For you, this means a practical frequency shield can be anchored by arranging salt deliberately in your space. The geometry concentrates and directs energetic currents, creating a monadic anchor that reduces the foothold of parasitic pressure and clarifies how interference maps onto your daily life. Start with coarse natural salt. Texture matters because crystal faces work like tiny directional antennas. Scatter small lines along thresholds, place shallow bowls at corners of rooms, and form deliberate rings around your sleeping vessel to establish a boundary. Avoid dissolving salt into water where its geometry is lost. Keep it dry so the lattice remains intact and active. Each placement creates a local recalibration, so your vital breath moves through cleaner fields. These simple arrangements reinforce sovereignty and make the frequency shield practical in everyday movements. Carry a small sachet of salt as a portable, monadic anchor that maintains a close frequency shield when you move through contested spaces. Tuck it into a pocket or keep a pebble of crystalline salt near your bed to steady your vital breath overnight. Change and refresh that salt regularly. Once it becomes darkened or clumped, it has absorbed interference and no longer functions as an active device. Rituals of renewal are practical maintenance. Shake, sift, or replace the crystals so your sovereignty remains intact and responsive. Archontic forces operate by holding coherence in low, parasitic patterns that latch onto your vessel and distort the vital breath. Salt disrupts their coherence by introducing tiny, organized electrical offsets that scramble those low patterns and create gaps where sovereignty can reassert. The geometric array of crystals forces a phase shift in local fields, reducing the traction that interference needs to persist. This is not mystical language. It is a description of how altering charge and geometry changes the operational conditions those forces depend upon. When you sense heightened parasitic pressure, move to refresh the salt boundaries immediately. Replace lines at doorways, empty and renew bowls, and shake out sachets. For travel, carry a flat crystal slab or a sealed packet of coarse salt to restore your frequency shield after airports, transit, or crowded places where interference accumulates. In work areas, position a ring of salt around tools or devices that draw errant fields. These are hands-on, repeatable measures that let sovereignty be an everyday practice rather than a distant ideal. Source raw crystalline salts whenever possible. Coarse sea salt or rock salt preserves the lattice and the directional faces that make the device effective, whereas processed, powdered salts lose much of that integrity. Keep spare supplies and treat the replacement schedule as part of holding sovereignty. When crystals show discoloration or clumping, they must be exchanged. Over time, your hands-on attention to these simple elements trains your perception to detect interference earlier, and your frequency shield becomes a practical habit that protects daily living and honors the monadic anchor. Throughout centuries, salt stood as a quiet bulwark against forces that intrude on your vital breath and contaminate the vessel of daily life. You know the tightening, the parasitic pressure that settles when interference moves through a home. Sumerians and Babylonians carried salt for boundary work. Egyptian priests kept it for purification rites. They treated it as an operational tool, not superstition. Understanding that lineage gives you permission to reclaim a practical method for protecting your space and preserving sovereignty of presence. Official institutions often reframed those practices into stories and rules, stripping SALT of its operational instruction and reducing it to symbols. That distortion created a gap between knowing SALT's function and actually using it to defeat interference. You are not bound by those edited meanings. The working knowledge remains encoded in practical steps. When SALT is applied with intent, it becomes a monadic anchor and a frequency shield. Simple mechanics you can re-engage without clerical permission, restoring sovereignty around thresholds where presence meets the outer world. Start with materials that hold density. Coarse sea salt or mined rock salt functions best because grain and mineral content amplify contact. To mark a perimeter, pour a thin line across thresholds and around entry corners. Small bowls in corners collect dispersed interference. Before placing SALT, center your vital breath at the doorway. 3 slow cycles is sufficient. Then set a clear intent. The SALT will act as a monadic anchor and channel disturbance outward, not inward. Keep the application simple and repeatable. Consistency builds the operating field. SALT's effect is active, not permanent. It collects parasitic pressure and interference, so schedule maintenance. Check bowls and threshold lines weekly. When crystals darken or clump, remove them and replace with fresh SALT. Dispose of used SALT by returning it to earth away from the home, or by releasing it into moving water outside. Do not dump it inside the vessel of the dwelling. After significant events, late visitors, arguments, or electrical storms, renew placements to reset the frequency shield and re-establish monadic anchoring. For personal items, place a shallow bowl of SALT near the bed or under a sleeping vessel to guard the monadic anchor while presence rests. Cleanse new objects by wiping them with a cloth dampened in salted water, then air dry. Keys and phones benefit from occasional resets. If there are children or animals, keep bowls out of reach or wrap SALT in cloth pouches secured at high corners. When guests arrive, brush threshold lines lightly. Simple acts preserve sovereignty without confrontation or explanation. The practical secret is less about ceremony and more about alignment. A few measured vital breaths, a clear naming of intent, and attention focused on the threshold will establish the monadic anchor effectively. Doing this regularly trains recognition of parasitic pressure and reduces interference quickly. This approach honors lineage without accepting distorted narratives. SALT functions as a tech of boundary work, repeatable and empirical in experience. Your sovereignty grows as the frequency shield becomes familiar, a predictable field that responds to simple, consistent inputs. Reclaiming SALT work is an act of household sovereignty, grounded in observable practice, rather than inherited silence. Begin modestly, document what shifts after changes in placement or renewal, and teach household members the simple motions so the field is shared and steady. Institutions might continue to narrate doubt, but your vessel responds to method and repetition. Use SALT with attention, renew as needed, and watch how parasitic pressure lessens. That quiet, steady protection is both ancient mechanics and a present solution you can apply tonight. You have felt the weight of interference pressing at the edges of your life. That restless sense that boundaries are porous and privacy is violated. There is a practical secret that returns power to your hands. An activated SALT line created with unrefined sea salt. Place it with purpose at thresholds, and the act becomes more than physical. It becomes a protocol that engages your monadic anchor, a tangible practice from ancient Gnostic methodology that responds directly to parasitic pressure and helps re-establish sovereignty. Choose unrefined sea salt because its mineral complexity holds a field-sensitive matrix that interacts with your vital breath and the ambient frequency shield. Refined table salt strips minerals and reduces responsiveness, so avoid it. When laying a line, form a continuous ribbon no wider than a finger and no more than a thin raised ridge. The precision matters. Place the line along door and window thresholds. inside the frame where possible, so the salt interfaces with incoming vectors of interference, while supporting the monadic anchor and maintaining clear sovereignty. Activation requires intention and clear verbal declarations. Words are not ornamental, but technical instruments that shape the field. Stand at the threshold with palm over the salt, breathe your vital breath, and speak short, present-tense declarations that affirm the boundary. Phrases like, "This threshold is my sovereign line," or "No parasitic pressure may pass." Keep statements simple and direct. The voice must align with your vessel's resonance. Avoid long invocations. Repetition anchors the pattern, and the salt records that acoustic imprint into the local frequency shield. Salt lines are living protocols that demand maintenance. Replace the line whenever it is broken, dissolved, or after a significant interference event, commonly every 4 to 6 weeks in ordinary conditions, sooner if parasitic pressure is high. When removing salt, do so with intention. Sweep it into a container, speak a closing declaration, and carry it away to be buried or dissolved in running water far from your vessel. Never discard it casually. Disposal is part of the protocol that prevents residual attractors from returning to your threshold. In a shared vessel, coordinate the pattern so the frequency shield is coherent. Place salt lines at every external entry and reinforce interior thresholds where energy tends to pool: corners, stair landings, and service doors. Small dishes of unrefined sea salt can stand in corners as auxiliary nodes, refreshed after each major clearing. When several people occupy the same vessel, align brief verbal declarations before placement, so the monadic anchor of each person coheres into a single sovereign field, rather than competing frequencies that weaken protection. If doubt arises, treat the practice as technical fieldwork rather than superstition. Salt's crystalline matrix is field responsive. It records and stabilizes the acoustic signature of your declarations and anchors the frequency shield around your vessel. Your vital breath and spoken words are the inputs that program that matrix. The outcome is not mystical happenstance but a measurable shift in the operation of parasitic pressure and interference. Boundaries hold where they previously leaked. Practicing this protocol cultivates active sovereignty, training your presence to be an effective barrier. Begin with a simple checklist. Procure unrefined sea salt, clear each threshold of debris, and decide the exact position of the line inside the frame where possible. Before placing salt, center with a few measured breath cycles of your vital breath and commit a short verbal declaration to stabilize intention. Lay the salt steadily, maintaining continuity across the opening. Walk through the threshold deliberately after placement to attune your monadic anchor to the new frequency shield. Repeat and maintain the pattern. Sovereignty is re-established through consistent technical practice. Imagine a protection that feels simple, but works like a living instrument. Salt arranged around a space, a frequency shield against parasitic pressure and intrusive interference. You, who feel fear or a restless pull toward safety, need to recognize that salt does not hold its charge forever. Over time, it draws dense energy into its grains until its surface changes and its purpose dulls. This secrecy is practical. Understanding loss of efficacy allows steady stewardship of your sovereignty and your monadic anchor. Pay attention to the changes you can see and touch. When salt forms hard clumps, dark flecks, a damp sheen, or a powder that no longer sparkles, these are clear signals that the frequency shield has been compromised. Smell can also betray contamination. A stale or clinging odor indicates parasitic pressure lodged in the crystals. Do not wait for a dramatic event. Small shifts in texture or color are the language of the material. Responding quickly preserves your vessel and keeps the protective field intact. Establish a renewal rhythm that fits how you live and what you confront. If the home is frequently visited, if arguments, business travel, or intense projects occur, check and change salt monthly. For quieter lives, seasonal renewal, every 3 months, keeps the field resilient. Track cycles with simple observation. Mark dates when salt was placed and when changes first appear. This practice trains your attention and strengthens sovereignty. It creates a predictable custodial pattern so that the monadic anchor remains clear and the frequency shield can be renewed on purpose. When removing salt, act deliberately. Use a dedicated scoop or spoon and avoid touching it with bare hands if contamination feels heavy. Contain old salt immediately in a cloth or sealed bag and carry it away from living thresholds. Burying at a boundary point or placing it in a sealed receptacle for disposal prevents reintroduction of absorbed energy. As you seal and move the material, exhale a clear, vital breath and affirm that the contaminated grains release their hold. This conscious transfer protects the monadic anchor and prevents return. When placing fresh salt, select coarse sea salt or unrefined mineral salt that holds texture and weight. Use shallow dishes, small piles, or a continuous line around thresholds, windows, and personal spaces. Before placement, clear surfaces of debris and sweep with purpose so the vessel that holds salt is receptive. Set the salt deliberately while breathing a steady, vital breath and visualizing the frequency shield knitting itself across edges. This intentional placement reestablishes protective resonance and reaffirms your commitment to maintaining energetic sovereignty. Never empty contaminated salt back into drains, garden beds near water, or areas where family gathers. That risks reintroducing parasitic pressure. Keep disposal sites on neutral ground, ideally on a boundary of your property, or in a sealed waste container removed from regular pathways. While sealing and placing the salt, state a short dedication that the grains relinquish any hold and are returned to inert matter. This conscious ending of a cycle is not wasteful. It's an energetic accountability that reinforces sovereignty and closes openings in the frequency shield. This work asks for steady attention, not superstition. Treat the salt as an active instrument that both receives and holds dense events until it is relieved. Check your perimeters often, honor the changes, and make renewal a visible commitment in daily rhythms. Each replacement is a practical affirmation of sovereignty, a reset for the monadic anchor, and a tightening of the frequency shield. When you move with this discipline, fear diminishes because interference has nowhere stable to lodge. Protection becomes a living responsibility that you accept. You have felt the weight of parasitic pressure and the slow drain of interference around you. That ache, called anxiety in other circles, is seen here as a disturbance of your vessel and a dimming of your monadic anchor. There is a practical, ancient secret that restores sovereignty, salt used with focused intent. This is not superstition. It is a precise interaction between a crystalline medium and your frequency, a way to re-establish boundaries so your vital breath can move without obstruction. Salt works because it is both conductor and separator, a clear boundary material for subtle currents. When applied with intent, salt organizes the small electrical and energetic movements that define a vessel's field. It helps to dissipate pockets of interference and pulls parasitic pressure away from the core of your presence. Think of it as a simple, reliable tool that supports a frequency shield. It does not fight with drama but resets alignment, so your monadic anchor regains its steady pull toward sovereignty. Begin simply and with purpose. Carry a small pinch of salt in a pouch to remind your body and field of the boundary you choose to hold. When you enter uncomfortable spaces, press a fingertip to that pinch and name the edge you require, feeling the vital breath slow and settle. For clearing a room, scatter a small line of salt at thresholds or sprinkle in running water while visualizing unwanted interference dissolving. These are practical gestures that translate inner intent into outer change. When parasitic pressure rises, use a breath practice tied to the salt. Stand or sit with salt in hand. Inhale slowly and imagine your vital breath, drawing a thin, bright line of protection around your vessel. Exhale and feel tension release downward and outward into the salt, where it can neutralize without returning. Repeat 3 to 5 times until the sensation of interference weakens. This pairing of measured breathing and salt anchors the frequency shield more quickly than words or hope alone. Everyday encounters will test this work. Old patterns and external forces seek to pull you back to low vibration. Apply the SALT practice as a daily maintenance that preserves autonomy without isolation. In relationships, state your need for clean, energetic boundaries and reinforce them with a small physical marker, a salt bowl on a shelf, a finger-signed line at a doorway. These actions teach others where your sovereignty begins and ends, while training your monadic anchor to remain stable in varied environments. Over time, the habit of intentional salt use deepens the quality of your presence. The frequency shield becomes less effortful, and the vital breath flows more consistently through the vessel. Salt's simplicity supports a long game. Persistence builds resilience, and small rituals accumulate into a durable state of peace. Treat the practice as calibration rather than magic. The goal is measurable consistency of your field and clearer access to inner knowing, not occasional spectacle. Now is the moment to reclaim what has been ceded to interference. Use salt with clear intent, breath that anchors, and steady repetition that honors sovereignty. This is a practical method grounded in ancestral technique and immediate utility, a way to create spaces of calm and defend against parasitic pressure. You have the authority to choose protection. Employ these tools, strengthen your frequency shield, and let the monadic anchor draw you back into a life lived from your own energetic center. You now possess the core revelation of your sovereignty, articulated through 3 powerful tools ready for your command. The practical impact of these insights is immense. The interference that has sought to claim your energy no longer holds sway over you. The tools are in your hands. The interference no longer has a legal claim to your energy. This knowledge is yours to wield. Subscribing to the Unwritten Word ensures you continue to receive these suppressed records. Here we do not interpret the Word. Here we expose what was hidden. This is the Unwritten Word. Your discovery continues immediately. A related record is available now for continued observation. Proceed.